Dr. Ruth Miller is going to delight us with her talk this morning. Yes, it's always a delight.
Thank you, dear. You're a sweetheart. Much appreciated. All right. We're good. We're good. Oh, my goodness. Hi. Shall I step up on the platform? Hold on. Ta-da! Oh, my goodness. Yes, miracles do happen. I can grow 6 inches. Actually, I do have a miracle, and I could have done it in joys and concerns. Some years ago, I fell, broke the leg, had surgery. That was that much shorter when he was done. It's that much shorter now. I don't have to wear lifts. I don't have to get special heels put on things. I don't have to, and every time I go to put on shoes, I have to figure out what's going to work now. But I just love that can happen, that's possible, that what we are taught is fixed and unchanging doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. Everything about life is always changing, and in fact, one of these maxims is the one thing you can count on in this universe is change, right? Yeah, and we've all had times in our lives where we thought we had set something up so it was set. That's how it's going to be. And then we've come back a few weeks later and it's not. On my very first garden, that's what I thought was going to happen. Oh, well. So in the write-up for today, I said we renew books from the library and renew our driver's license and passport, but do we know how to renew ourselves? And ourselves are so much more than we tend to think or remember. Ourselves are not just the body. Remember the Calgonettes? Take me away in this nice warm bathtub. Oh, it's the only ad I remember the name for the brand. And so that was to help renew the body. And a lot of stuff that's out there about self-love is about renewing the body. And that's good stuff, but it's never about actually renewing the body. It's about comforting the body. That's kind of interesting. Have you thought about that? All that stuff that's out there right now. It's about feeling good, which is good, but it isn't renewing, rejuvenating, regenerating. And we can do some of that. And in this world is constantly demanding our attention. In fact, now there are 2 books, not one, but 2 books out there on how not to have the attention demand claim us. Isn't that marvelous? I think that's beautiful. And I think I might even have the title of one of those books. No, I don't. I thought he did. Oh, well. But you can do Claim Our Attention as a search, and you will find it. The idea is that by keeping our attention focused out there, we are never able to take care of in here. And our culture has evolved to the point where it's all about paying attention out there and never in here. Now, when we were growing up, virtually everyone in this room, there were at least a few hours a week where we could stop. And when we retired, most of us in this room, we thought we could stop. And some of us did for a few weeks or months. And then we began to get involved in this and that and helping this and doing that and making this happen. And all of a sudden, our attention is out there again instead of in here. Oh, my goodness. Prior to the 1980s, the average individual in this country had 76 hours a week committed to doing other things, if they were working full-time. 76 hours, that's only 3 days, a little more. Out of a whole week, there was a lot of time to just sit and be in reverie, or to contemplate, or to enjoy. And through the 80s and 90s, we filled those hours up. So that about 15 years ago, which is the last time I checked the numbers, we were down to about 6 hours a week of unscheduled time. Wow. Right? So how do we make that shift? Because I know when they're, energized by being out and about, and it feels really good to get this done and that done, and interact with this person and that person. Yeah, we keep going and we keep going, and then suddenly the Energizer Bunny quits. And how do we find a balance? How do we make a life where we are being renewed every moment of every day? Where we are being regenerated, where the cells are being regenerated, where the energy systems are being regenerated. And part of that is we need to change our model of who and what we are. Really, that is the fundamental thing. Now, those of you who listen to my radio show, which is, I wanted to tell you, it's at 1 o'clock tomorrow again. She came in, she said, I heard part of your show this morning. I didn't hear the beginning. 1 o'clock tomorrow, you can hear the building beginning. The radio show is called Noetic Moments. It's on KXCR, and they stream on SoundCloud. But if you've listened to it, you will hear, and may have heard already, that the most important thing we have to know, and the most important belief we have to be aware of is, who do I think I am? And what do I think the world is? Because if I think the world out there is a dangerous place that has to be changed for me to be okay, and I am not safe in it, then I am never going to be renewed. Isn't that interesting? Because that belief will prevent me from experiencing all the ways that this universe is ordered. I'm not going to say designed, ordered, the way it has emerged to be, in which every single individual being is supported for its full development and fulfillment of its life purpose. Every single one of us. Every single cell. Every single rabbit. Every single coyote. Right? We are all part of something that is an evolving structure that is working for the best possible fulfillment of all beings. I'm not going to get into all of the theory of it right this minute. But when I accept that as the nature of what's, quote, out there, it's huge. But when I realize that what I have thought was out there is also in here, as the quantum field, for lack of a better term, as the field of all possibility that is in and through and penetrating and becoming every form that I see, oh my goodness. I cannot separate myself from that old galaxy they just found. Right? I can't separate it. I can't separate myself from any critter, even those ants that keep invading my kitchen. Somehow that's me invading my kitchen. Oh. And when I begin to understand that about me and about us and about the universe, then I begin to be aware that, oh my goodness, this same energy that is powering the sun and the earth and the moon and the dance and the planets and all of the wonderful things that's happening is powering me. The technical term, developed in the 70s by Ilya Prigogine, is I am a dissipative structure. What does that mean? I know, what a terrible word. Dissipative structure. Dissipative structure. And what that means is that every one of us is like a whirlpool in the bottom of the bathtub. As long as the water is flowing, the whirlpool exists. And when the water isn't flowing, the whirlpool doesn't exist anymore. The energy of the quantum field is a flow. It tends to be in a spiral action. Look at the galaxies, right? And that spiral action is moving in and through all of us all of the time. The only thing that slows it down is our belief that it isn't. Because the way the brain is wired is it will tell the body to react and respond and do things in accordance with the beliefs. That's how it does it. That's its job. So if I can get the brain to understand that I am an energy flow, and flowing to me, through me, is this wonderful energy all the time, then I can never be depleted. I can't. I have to get the brain to understand that and shift how it's functioning, which means I need to rewire the brain, and that's a whole nother story. And we talked about some of that yesterday. Thank you all of those who showed up yesterday. That was fun. And I talk about it on the radio show, and I talk about it in just about every class I ever teach, right? Because this is where we are at as humanity. We are beginning to realize that what we have been trained to think and feel and do and act and say is totally not supporting our development, individually or collectively. And it's not sustainable. We can't continue. And so we are all beginning to find the ways to be in the world in a way that we are supported, and we are supporting the world by allowing this shift from the cultural training that is wired into our brain to a new way of being and understanding about ourselves, about the world, about each other, about this beautiful planet. You know, when we were growing up, progress was the most important product, right? Now my techie friends say the wealth of America is in our landfills. Yeah, because we got to have the new one, and so we throw away the old one, and the old one is lots of technology and minerals and good stuff. Oh my goodness. And we were taught even that we had to do that with our bodies, that our bodies would wear out and they would die, and we would throw them away, we would bury them or cremate them or whatever. And that was the nature of the culture. Do you know there is no other culture on the planet except empire, Western civilization that thinks that? I was 18 when I learned that. That's when I accepted the possibility of a higher power as a working hypothesis. It seemed like it might work since every other culture on the planet believed it. I was like, oh, well, maybe there's something to it. Right? Well, that higher power is the order of the quantum field. Quantum physicist Amit Goswami actually wrote a book he called The Self-Aware Universe, because he couldn't explain how particles could ever happen, how matter could be, unless there was a consciousness that is the all that is. And that consciousness, that awareness, is who I am too. And that energy that is the flowingness of that consciousness is what is sustaining me. And if I can learn to allow the brain to allow that energy to be my energy instead of my adrenal glands providing my energy, then maybe I can experience that regeneration, that renewal that must happen as that energy flows through the body. Yeah. Now, some of you are aware that there's a new movement in farming and gardening called regenerating the earth, regenerative agriculture, regenerative gardening. And the idea is that historically agriculture, not gardening, but agriculture, has depleted the soil. Right? When I was a kid, farmers rotated the crops to not deplete the soil. But then someone came along and said, oh, well, we've got a better way. Progress is our most important product, and we've got a better way, and you can buy this stuff and pour it onto your soil, and you never have to rotate your crops. Oh, boy. Right? Well, 50 years of that, people are saying, we need to learn to rotate our crops. So we're not depleting the soil. We don't have to buy this stuff, right? And as we do that, we begin to shift into the realization that this universe is designed for regeneration. That all of the processes that we call natural processes, in fact, help us become more healthy and more engaged in life. Yeah? Emerson called that process reason, capital R, nature's reason. Because nature, in its very essence, as he understood it, is supporting our well-being, and we, as we work with it, get to experience more of that. Yay, Ralph. Actually, you like to be called Waldo. So how do we begin to make that shift? All right? I've laid out an intellectual framework, and some of you are going, oh, yeah. And some of you are going, yeah, but. And some of you are going, that doesn't fit what I know. And that's perfectly fine. And a few of you are going, yes, that feels so good. Well, that's the secret right there. Yes, that feels so good. When we start to go, oh, I don't think so, that's a good indicator that the lower part of the brain is in gear and not the upper part. Right? The bird brain, if you will. We breathe and we go, well, if that were true, we go into curiosity. First you breathe, then you go into curiosity when you start feeling that. What if it were true? What would it be like? What would my life be like? What would the world be like? Can I imagine a universe where that is the case? And the body begins to go, oh yeah, that's what's real. That's what I understand at the deep cellular level. So we begin by breathing always. And then we ask the questions. Is it possible? What would it be like? Can I imagine? And then we go into the imagining of a universe, of a world, of a life that is renewing us constantly renewing us as we allow it. And there's this wonderful thing about imagination. When the mind has imagined it, the brain starts to rewire in alignment with the imagining. And then it starts to complain again because that's not what I was taught. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We'll be fine. Breathe, and we go into the question again, right? And after a while, we get to just relax in the flow. And then we get to experience what many of you know are Ruth's famous 3 E's. As we relax into the flow, things begin to show up in our life as effortless. We choose that which we don't have to push ourselves to make ourselves do. And they're enjoyable. We enjoy being and doing and acting in those ways, like being in this room, right? And the third is, it's energizing. We are renewed in the doing of it, in the being of it, in the experiencing of it. Oh my goodness, the flow is open and now I'm experiencing it and my cells are being rejuvenated and it is so cool. And I can go on to the next thing, effortless, enjoyable, and energizing. And if it isn't mine to do. I got that from Stanford's business school, checking with entrepreneurs who had been successful. That's how they could renew themselves and allow the company to become what it was, let it go, and move on to the next effortless, enjoyable, and energizing experience. And if it wasn't theirs to do, they would find someone for whom that task, bookkeeping or cleaning the toilet. By the way, Japanese CEOs clean the toilets first thing in the morning. Isn't that amazing? It's part of their, how do I just be fully present and human in the moment? Oh my goodness. Anyway, whether it's one of those tasks that feels like efforting right now, it's probably for someone else not efforting. It's probably energizing and effortless for them. Who can I find that would enjoy that? Yeah? Lydia, well done. You found some people who feel that way. So, when we are choosing in that direction and we're allowing the body to just go, oh yeah, that feels good. We are rewiring the brain to align itself so that it will allow the flow of the universe to support the body and renew the cells. Yes. That's not necessarily an easy or quick lesson. Some of us have to be hit on the head really, really hard and get laid out flat in order to be able to start to learn it. But I'm encouraging you not to have to go that far. Just, let the universe nudge you a little bit. Don't even let it break your bone, Just nudge you a little bit. Go, oh, yeah, effortless, enjoyable, energizing. Yes, that's mine. And what would the life that I could be living be like if I knew what intellectually I'm beginning to understand? That I'm constantly receiving this flow of energy, and that every time I am sharing with someone else, I am actually opening the valve for a little more, and a little more, and a little more. And I don't have to be up in front of a group of people to do that. I can sit in my room and I can feel their presence in my world and I can send them love and light. Those of you who are Reiki practitioners understand this principle. Yes. If I allow that to flow through me, it heals me, it supports me, it renews me as I am renewing and supporting and helping others to heal. That's the nature of this universe. Renewal is fundamental to this universe. There are periods of high creativity and periods of rest. The winter's dormancy, right? And then high creativity, and then rest again. One of the fun things about this transitional season that is June, right? There might be a first hay crop. I saw some people cutting their hay recently. But basically, this is a time where all that energy of spring has been creating, and now we're resting in the glory of it. All the leaves are out, right? Most of the spring flowers are just being green plants now, right? Yeah. And then there will be the fruiting that is starting in June. The fruits begin to emerge and they come out, right? And the fruiting is another period of creativity. And then there's the dormancy of fall. And as people are going to sleep, all the little plants and all people. I don't know why, but I'm being told to tell you this. I have recently learned that America's issue with obesity is because we are all in the pre-hibernation mode of physiology. Apparently, we're all now about to go hibernate. Who knew? So if you're concerned about what's going on in the body, you might try going to bed and fasting for a few weeks. Another form of renewal. I did find the the title of that book. It's How to Do Nothing. The subtitle is Resisting the Attention Economy. Resisting the Attention Economy, Jenny Odell. She says, argues that doing nothing in a society that demands constantly our productivity and attention is difficult but crucial. And she goes on from there. So, now those of you who grew up in a Christian or any Judeo-Christian household are aware of a concept called Sabbath. This is not the same as Sabbath, which Shabbat and Sabbath are this day of rest. And in fact, the word Sabbath has it, all the ways that it's come through all the languages is based on that Hebrew concept of resting. Resting. 6 days we do. 7th day we rest. And what do we do on that day? Nothing. That's what the laws about don't light a fire, don't turn on the electricity, don't drive a car. They're all about just do nothing and allow that flow of communion with the all that is for a whole 24 hours. I got to tell you, it's fabulous. You turn off the phone, you don't plug in the computer, you don't go out, you sit and be. You might garden a little, you might eat a little, but basically you're just being in that space of allowing that marvelous flow of renewing energy, love, life, whatever you want to call it. Sabbath. I had a friend who was very consistent in keeping the Sabbath for years and years and years. And that woman looked 50, well into her 80s, right? Yeah, because she was constantly renewing who and what her body could be. Yeah. Yes, renewal is. It's not something we hope for. It is. All we have to do is allow it. So would you like to do a meditation? All right. Thank you. So the first step is always breathe. So breathe again and just allow the body to relax, because in the relaxed state, flow happens. And allow the mind to be fully present here. And now take another long and slow and deep breath and just be present in the beingness that is everywhere, in us and through us and around us. And in this beingness, we're aware that there are many, many, many spirals of beautiful lights all around us. And we're aware that those spirals are moving and flowing. And as we look with those eyes, those inner eyes at our own being, our own body-mind system, we see that it is a spiral of beautiful lights. Totally supported and supplied constantly in this beautiful universe of beingness. All these beings, we are one, flowing and dancing together in this universe, this one being that is all that is. And as we relax in this beingness, we allow that flow to be our experience. We feel a flowing in and through all of the wonderful lights and life forces and beings that make up who we are, each of us. We feel that beautiful flow, and we feel the spiral of being that we are being totally sustained in this flow. Flowing in, around, touching every cell in the body, supporting this beingness, all these beautiful lights of life that we are. And then flowing beyond, out into the rest of the beingness, and connecting with others like us. That flow that touches all beings, that is all beings, that is constantly renewing and supporting and sustaining all these marvelous forms in all that is. We can feel how our very bodies, the cells in our bodies, are responding and aligning in new ways. They're harmonizing in new ways as this energy flows in and through and around. And we can feel and know that our brain is going, ooh, this is nice, I want more of this. And letting go of old ideas that have prevented it. And we can feel how all of the organs and tissues in the body are being realigned and renewed so that every part of the body is regenerated in this flow of being that is. And as we breathe, we're aware that that energy flowing in and through is released with every exhale, is shaped and formed and sent to all other beings with our intention on the exhale. And as that happens, we can feel an expanded inflow so that this wonderful being that we are, this spiral of life and love and energy, is being energized at a new level and is able to send and share and flow even more of this wonderful energy. And we can feel all the beings and see all the lights of all beingness infinitely everywhere. And we are part of that, and they are part of us. One. Each unique within the one. Each contributing to the whole of the one. So we take another breath and bring our awareness back into this form of being, this body in the chair in the room, connected with all these other wonderful beings in the room, feeling this energy in the room and knowing that truly in us, through us, as us, and for us and for all beings, all is well. For so it truly is. All right, take a nice cleansing breath, and we will return to this service. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Ruth. I think it's going to take me a minute to get back into this time and space after that beautiful meditation. And a reminder that we are all one and how to renew ourselves. Thank you. So now let us bring the kids back into the sanctuary if we can. And now is our time when we have the opportunity to give of ourselves and give back to our fellowship. We are so grateful for your contributions to this congregation that sustain and grow the life and mission of this congregation. We commit together to ensure that the fun